celebrating that feast day this coming Sunday comes from the Greek word Epiphania, which can mean several things in the Greek language if we translate it into English. So commonly it means an appearance or a glorious display, manifestation, revelation, shining, or giving light. For Christians, Epiphany is the celebration of the Son of God being manifest to the whole world, not just to the Jews, but to the whole world. Because whoever these three magi were, they represented different nations in Matthew's Gospel. Now, most of us are familiar with the first Epiphany, which is the appearance of the magi to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph at their home in Bethlehem. And Matthew does not say there were three of them, but it's come down to us through tradition that there were three of them, and some people translate them as kings, some as astrologers, some as magi. One of the things we need to know is that when in the ancient Oriental culture, when a ruler made a state visit, it was full of pomp and circumstance, and he would host a big party and would bring gifts when he came. And his coming was known as a theophany or an epiphany, the coming of a god, the appearance of a god in the midst of his people. Another association with a ruler in the ancient world is he often paid for elaborate marriage ceremonies of those in his court. And so that association with the third Epiphany that we celebrate, Jesus changing water into wine at Cana at the request of his mother, is a hint of the ancient custom of rulers doing the same thing. Okay. Now, the second Epiphany is that of Jesus being baptized at the River Jordan by his cousin John the Baptist, in which a voice from heaven sounds out, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." So with the three Epiphanies, for the first 3 Sundays after the Feast of the Holy Family, are the visitation of the three magi, the baptism at the River Jordan, and the feast, marriage feast at Cana. Now, also it's come down traditionally that these three magi brought gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold representing kingship, frankincense representing priesthood, because whenever worship took place in the temple, they let out a lot of incense. Okay, and that's in keeping with Isaiah 63, which talks about the greeting of the Messiah will be accompanied by gold and frankincense. The reference to myrrh is Matthew's way of saying that at the end of his gospel, when Jesus undergoes his passion, they mixed wine, bitter wine, with myrrh, which made it even more bitter, as representative of his suffering. So that's the third gift. Now, one of the customs, ancient Christian customs, is the custom of blessing the house. And that probably comes from the idea of the Magi visiting Jesus' house in Bethlehem. And so ancient monasteries did this, as did Christian families. They would bless each room of the house and ask God to be present in each room for the coming year. Then they did what's called the chalking of the door. And so chalk is brought in, and over the entrance to the door, to the monastery or to the house, the initials BMC were placed with a cross in between, and then the year. Okay. Now the BMC could stand for the names of the three magi that were given to them over time, Melchior, Balthazar, and Caspar, or it could stand for the initials of the Latin phrase Christus mansionem benedicat, may Christ bless this dwelling, this house. And so the chalking of the door is in remembrance of the passage in Exodus 12:7, when the Israelites are about to leave Egypt. They brush the lintels of their house with blood so that the angel of death would pass by and they would be safe and at peace. So that custom comes from hearkening back to the Exodus passage. And so in this house, this coming Sunday, after morning praise, we will gather here at the crib and we will sing "There is a Longing" in our hearts. And then we'll cross the threshold of the chapel and bless the house. And then when we get to the entrance of the monastery, I will step outside and bless by extension the Welcome Center, the Spirit Center, our guest house, and our hospitality house, and all our grounds, so that those who come to our house share in the blessing that we who live in the house share in.